We are talking mistakes or challenges that existing businesses make. Last time we looked at the challenges that face the new businesses or the mistakes that us as entrepreneurs or business owners make. So today let's look at the existing ones. Those that have been in existence, you have not given up, but you're still making them. One, we have the mistake of poor record keeping. When we talk about record keeping, it has a number of sections. We have a sales records, we have a stock records, we have the human resource records, we have the core, which is the financial records. Now, if we can take an example of stock records, if you're not accounting stock systematically and keeping records, your employees are just going to be pulling out stock when you don't know. And this, at least I confirmed it from one of my friends who is selling tiles, and she would just find when boxes are half. Why? Because she at first she's not to keep records. So record keeping is key. Financial records, this at least. If you're not keeping records and for you every time you just estimate, you just pick money, use it the way you want. You're not tracking how much you've made this month, what's the profit, if it's a loss, how much is the loss, how are we going to improve. Maybe we have an issue of wrong pricing, we have an issue of a lot of costs. How will you know all that if you're not keeping records? The second one is over borrowing for the business. Now, sometimes we overburden our businesses with loans. And you see, when we look at the financial management bit, to those who have done financial management somewhere, using borrowed capital is cheaper than using your owner's equity or your personal money. It's cheaper because the borrowed funds, its interest is not taxable. So they allow it when you're calculating your profit. They allow it. And then if you're borrowing for capital for an asset, they actually allow you to capitalize. So there are no taxes that are attached to the borrowed money. But when it comes to your owner's equity, a lot of taxes are around it. So that's why when we come to the financial management bit, borrowed money is cheaper than the money that you use from your pocket. However, if we are going to burden our businesses with a lot of loans, you find that business is worth 5 million, but you have a loan of 10 million, and you're getting the repayment from that business, then that means that you're overburdening it. And what you're doing, if you're overusing loans in that business, is that you're cutting on the profit that you should be getting. Because remember, interest is paid off your profit. So if you're, and another thing that you have to remember is that regardless of whether you've made a profit or a loss, you're going to have to pay that money back. So that's why you need to borrow, but minimize the debt so that the equity, the debt to equity ratio is balanced. Yeah, if you find that you have a lot of debt repayment compared to your equity that is there, then that means that there is also trouble somewhere. So let's try to balance and we don't overburden our business with debts. And then the third one is financial mixing. Now this one, we call it poor financial management. If you're mixing money, your Kameza money is coming from the business, you want a dress and maybe you don't have another extra money, you just pick from the business. The business maybe has made a profit of 100, and before you know it, you're picking 200 a month. Now that means that you're actually eating up your capital. The business is no longer facilitating for only what it has made, but you're eating up even capital. So mixing personal money with the business money is not right. And I think at one point we shall give the details of which money is yours and which money is for the business. And how can you benefit from the business? How can you get money, earn money from the business? That we shall give it in details. But for now, mixing up the business money and personal money, lack of boundaries for the business money is not your money. It's for the business. However much you're the one that started it, but the money is for the business. Now, if you keep mixing, before you know it, your employees are also going to start picking. Just like the way you call and you're like, do you have money? Yeah, send me 100. Now, also him, when he lacks money, he's just going to get some money from that drawer, because like that's the culture that you, the owner, you're establishing on your business. So let's draw boundaries and only earn from that business what you're supposed to earn from it. Not that every money that comes is yours. And then another thing that we used to do, me and my husband, and really it helped us in our businesses, is that if you know that for you you're not good with mobile money, mixing up money from customers and your personal money, that if they send if they send on your phone, you're not going to submit there, then you better look for that business line and put it on the business for it to receive that money. Because for you, when they send money on your phone and you want data, you just pick. You want airtime, you just pick. Before you know it, you're not reporting the money. So that's also a mistake that we make as entrepreneurs. Then another one is poor business planning. Now, poor business planning is more on the financial side for now, is what I want to lean into. If a business, for example, is in its boom, by those some people in COVID, their businesses were on the boom. While some of us were struggling, others were thriving in their businesses. So the business is on your boom according to what you're selling in a certain season. You make a lot of money. And then the season ends, the business doesn't make money anymore. But you have to pay those workers. You have to pay rent even when the business has not made money. You have to pay the bills, and you have to buy stock. So instead of you picking out from that business when it's at its boom, and you know you're buying land here and there, which is good because a business should do those things aside. However, don't only pick for your personal reasons. Also pick for the business and set up an emergency account for the business. So that's when it has made money, it is able to save for itself when it is not making a lot of money. When the business is not performing well and it has its backup on that emergency account, it's good for it to keep operating, for it not to struggle when it's at its low. So let's just try to analyze which of the mistake are you making that is hindering your business today. Have a nice time.